mystery. And you and I, we got history, yeah. Wherever love flows, there is also tragedy when we're in too deep. And you and I, we got history, yeah. Go look in the mirror, say, hey, I'm sorry for all the pain. I'm sorry for all the pain.
I love shooting roads untraveled. I love driving people's modified cars when they are kind enough to let me get behind the wheel. That is exactly what we're doing today with this gorgeous E30 BMW.
Hey, I'm sorry for all the pain. I'm sorry for all the pain.
You guys have been asking for an E30 for the longest time, ever since I can remember, and here we are finally in an awesome example, modified to Ryan's liking, and of course it's got a turbocharger on it. This car's got no shortage of boost. It's running about 10 PSI on a whole set turbo off of a diesel, so that's kind of neat, I guess. Looks really awesome. I love the way the intake manifold on these engines looks. 4,000 RPM boost. Nice blow-off valve.
Hey guys, my name is Ryan, and this is my 1990 BMW 325i. So I bought the car last year. It was completely stock, it was automatic, it had the stock 14-inch wheels on it still, and there was nothing on it other than like an aftermarket head unit. A week after I bought it, I did the 5-speed swap. I bought a parts car and transferred the drivetrain over. And so with that I gained a 373 limited slip rear end, which is nice. I knew the stock engine was really healthy. I had done a leak down and compression test and oil pressure test, and everything was healthy in it, so I thought, why not just build up the stock engine? Probably early December I pulled the engine out, rebuilt the cylinder head, replaced all the gaskets, and then did ARP head studs, and other than that the engine's completely stock. And then ended up sourcing a turbo from a Cummins engine. It's an old whole set turbo. So it's a bit laggy unless you're above 3,000 RPMs, but realistically for what it is, it's a great starter turbo for this build, and it's been working out great so far.
So Ryan's E30 is running about 10 PSI right now. Should be about anywhere from 215 to 250 at the wheels. He hasn't dynoed it in current trim right now, but here's the thing. Here's the first thing you notice about this car. First off, steering, very, very light. It does have a steering rack out of an E36. It's slightly quicker than the stock 1990 E30 rack. He's got an aftermarket steering wheel in here as well, which helps with that. It's a little bit smaller. Seating position is definitely very unique, something I'm not used to. The E30 definitely has a very unique seating position. It's really nice though. It's really good. It's actually kind of spacious in here. I feel like this car is definitely the right size. I know that's a lot of the reason why people enjoy the E30 so much is because of the size of the car, right? Back in 1990, this was a proper sized kind of entry-level luxury two-door coupe, right? And over time, obviously, cars get bigger and stuff. But the E30 is in kind of a class of its own. It's very, very comfortable to sit in. You know where all four wheels are. It's got a very short wheelbase. It feels great. First impressions, mint. I'm loving it so far. The BMW E30 doesn't have any traction control, which, I mean, it's 1990, it's a BMW. you don't want traction control. You don't need traction control. On a day like today, it definitely is a little bit wet, so I've got to be a little bit more cautious with how I'm putting on the power and everything like that. This car did not come with a turbo from the factory. This engine was not built to handle boost, but the fact that it can, the fact that this engine is 25 years old at this point, and it can handle boost. It's a single cam engine, handles boost. Obviously Ryan's got all the necessary gauges in here. He's got his boost, he's got his wideband. He keeps a close eye on everything, which I can really appreciate. With a bigger turbo like that, you do have to wait a little bit for boost to really come on. But when it does, it builds pretty much all the way to redline, just past 6,000 RPM. Pulls really good. This car does not weigh a lot. It doesn't feel necessarily like the chassis wasn't built for the power. The chassis feels great, even with more than 100 horsepower extra than it came with from the factory. It's got a really unique character about it. I love 90s cars, mostly from the fact that the driving inputs are not, they haven't been, you know, tampered with in too much that you lose the essence of what connects you to the road. A lot of newer cars that I've driven feel very disconnected, right?
The car's running Megasport plug and play. So it's a plug and play control unit that uses the stock wiring harness, which is really nice. Running 10.5 PSI, it's got 36-pound white giant injectors, and then just basic a tile 38mm wastegate and a forged blow-off valve. I had it dynoed, a break-in dyno at Racing Greed back in April, and that was at 7 PSI, and on their Mustang dyno it made 200 at the wheels. So right now I'm at 10.5. I would say it's probably on a Mustang dyno making around 220 at the wheels. So if you flip that to a dyno jet, it's probably in the neighborhood of 250 or 260, I would say. But it's plenty fast for what it is. It's a light car and it handles well, so I'm happy with it for now. So the car is running custom valve and spring BC Racing coilovers. The rears are 12 kg springs and the fronts are 10. Converted, that's a front to rear ratio of about 550 to 650 in the rear, pound spring. The wheels are, they're not a legit Rota, they're a knockoff wheel. They're a 15x8 ET0, and then it's got Yokohama S drives for rubber. Very good tire and very grippy, even in the rain. Filming out here, it's got good traction. Brakes are stock. With these wheel sizes with 15s, I can't fit bigger calipers. So if I did do a big brake kit upgrade, I'd have to go to 16s or 17s, but more rotational mass and, you know, change the tire. You know, for how small of a car it is, it only weighs about 2,800 pounds, and it's very tossable and predictable, when, especially in the corners. Maybe one day in the future it'll have a V8 swap with a turbo, but yeah, I have to go over that with my wife first.
And full throttle. Oh my God, when you get up into the power band, you get the blow-off valve going, you get the insane scream of this inline six. Now I know, you guys, it's not naturally aspirated anymore, but that does not take away from the engine noise itself. It might take a little bit away from the exhaust noise, but you do get cracks and pops now. Shifter feels fine. It's a little bit loose though. This is a bone stock shifter, so I'm sure you can do something in the aftermarket to kind of remedy that. But as it stands right now, it's a little bit loose for my liking. The throws are good. The throws are nice and short, but feel could use a little bit of work. All right. Boost and pops, crackles. More boost, more pops. It's not slow. It's not slow at all. You know, anywhere between 200 and 250 at the wheels on a wet day like today, on a tight road in a small chassis, is the definition of driving fun. It really is. This is definitely some of the most fun I've ever had driving a car. I don't say that very often, and when I say that, I really do mean it. This is one of those cars that is going to leave an impression for a very long time. That's for sure. the power band that Ryan has here, it really does keep the naturally aspirated inline six characteristics that we've all come to love from BMW, especially 90s BMWs, because all the power is still at the top end. It's not like the turbo spools up at the bottom end, you get a bunch of torque, and then it dies off at the top. No, that's not what it's like. It just keeps pulling. It's so much fun. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said before, listen to the Roads Untraveled podcast every Wednesday on iTunes, Shout Engine, or whatever app you download your podcasts on. Make sure to subscribe, go like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram for like behind the scenes photos and stuff. And we will see you guys next time. All right, so here we are sitting in an E36 BMW M3. Now I know we've filmed a lot of big turbo cars on the channel before, most of which were Japanese. This one's a little different. This is my first time ever behind the wheel of an M car. See how it compares, shall we?